It's been quite a few days, quite a lot of things happening in the world. And I just want to give a reflection on the 10th of Muharram. First of all, about the England game, right? Look, I was watching it, right? Like many many of us. I'm a big football fan. I was supporting England, but the reflection I had, right, is like the emotions we went through. Right? It is incredible. I think football is a really useful metaphor for life, right? My English teacher used to tell me, back in when I was in grammar school, he used to say that football is a displacement activity for war, right? You have like your tribe, and you're protecting your village, right? And they're trying to attack you, and then you try, right? And so there's some tribal instincts. I think that's why it's one of the reasons why we play these games. And they think about it as grown men kicking a ball between sticks, right? And look at the sophistication and the money the level of passion we have behind. It's a bit, if you think about it on a logical level, it seems, what is this, right? But I think there's some deep primal instincts which go into why we get so passionate about it. But more importantly than that, I was saying to a brother, right, who was watching and got really like was even crying, right, when the loss occurred, and I thought to myself, Subhanallah, right? If you look at the emotion, right, look at the joy when someone wins, right? Imagine if England won, right? And how did we all cheer when Palmer scored, right? And we get so happy. The joy is incredible, right? And sometimes when I'm coaching clients and I'm coaching them in terms of our real goals in life, right? And one of the techniques I teach is I encourage my clients and anyone I teach, right? And encourage all of you is to reward yourself when you achieve an important spiritual goal that we should celebrate, right? We should celebrate, right? Now, what's more important to celebrate? When we, for example, I don't know, read that Quran target, which we always wanted to do, or when England score a goal, right? Obviously, our personal target is much more important. But look at the emotion we show when someone kicks a ball through some sticks, and look at the emotion we have for our own important life milestones, right? Often, unfortunately, there's a disconnect, and especially unfortunately in a lot of Muslim, so not much. I won't say it's Muslim, it's sub-Asian culture. We're not used to. We don't really celebrate our own achievements or even our family achievements, right? There's a bit of dryness there, right? And so it's worth actually reflecting. Say, look at the celebration when in football, right? And the pain. Look at the pain, and we saw what the news about the England fans and the brawling is despicable, right? Pain and despair contrast to the joy. Now, the useful reflection here is think about the game of life, the test of life, and imagine the joy of Jannah. That's the true joy, isn't it? And the pain of missing out on Jannah, that is a pure despair. That's the ultimate joy and the ultimate pain, and everything that connects to that is worth celebrating or being sad about. And that's why they say that Sahaba, for example, that it's said that if they missed even a prayer, Allah forgive us for our lack of emotion, they would be so sad, right? They'd be so sad. I remember my elders used to tell me this, right? They'd be so sad. It's like that they lost their family and their home and everything in it. That's the kind of despair. It's probably an exaggeration, but you can imagine. We know that the Sahaba they were very emotional people. They were very emotional people. They felt great despair and upset at offending Allah and sinning, and they felt great joy in the Prophet ﷺ's company and pleasing Allah, right? And that's the way we should calibrate ourselves. That's the way we should reflect, right? A Muslim is someone who reflects on what goes on in the world, right? So that's the first thing. And how do we connect that to Muharram? Well, Muharram is the Islamic New Year, and this is this is what commemorates the Hijra, the time when the Prophet ﷺ left Mecca to Medina, right? To left the hardship of of where he's been persecuted to go to a land where he could practice Islam freely, and that's what we should do. We should try to do Hijra, right? I'm not saying that you need to leave your city or move country, no, but you should, if you're, for example, in a work environment where you've been there for years and you just you find it hard to practice your deen there. Maybe you can't pray there properly. You've always wanted to leave, but you've never had the guts. You always keep making excuses. Well, maybe this is a time to actually make a plan to get out of there, right? Maybe it's a hijrah from sins. This is a time to leave a particular sin. That's the greatest hijrah, by the way, to do hijrah from bad deeds to good deeds. Okay, some other thing, and today is the 10th of Muharram, right? For many, depending on the calendar you're using. So it's the 10th of Muharram, right? Ideally, you're fasting. right? If you're watching this and you forgot to fast, or you're not fasting, it's a long summer months in the UK, then there are other things you can do. Don't just because you're not doing one deed, don't do the other things, right? There's a reason why we fast on this day. It commemorates a day when Fir'aun was drowned in the sea, when Musa Islam crossed the sea and took the Bani Israel across, and Fir'aun was drowned. And so, what can we do? So we this is again a day to make du'a to Allah. Last 30 minutes, right? 10 minutes even, before Maghrib, make du'a and ask Allah to drown your pharaohs, to drown the idols in your life, right? And who are these idols, right? These are the sins. These are shaitan. These are your ego, the nafs, right? Which might be calling you to your desires instead of calling you to Allah. Right, another a sunnah in this day, a practice which I used to learn when I was studying the deen in Jordan, and I was studying with scholars from who studied in Sham or from Ahl Sham, the Syria and these areas. They would be very generous to the family on this month, right? So it would be traditional to buy a gift for your wife, right? Or to just take out, right? I remember the scholars and myself, a practice I'd have is to take my family out for a dinner on 10th of Muharram, right? That's something which I didn't know, which is a great practice you can do. Okay, so to be extra generous to your family on this day. So these are some things you can intend on this day. Don't let it waste. Reflect on Jannah Jahannam, and make this month Muharram a time when you can reorient yourself back to the deen, back to Allah, back to the path of our purpose. And inshallah, I hope this reminder is beneficial. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.